breaking the all-time record for the most Grammy wins ever by any female artist.
We've already acknowledged Beyonce as our queen, but the rise to the top has been everything but easy. There are very few people in the world who don't know who Beyonce is, and there's a reason for that.
I'm Beyonce, and I'm a Virgo.
She's been an icon for literal decades, and when she performs, you can't help but to feel inspired and empowered.
I want to thank all of the other female groups out there.
From the early days of Destiny's Child to the plethora of Grammys she now holds,
The Grammy goes to Beyonce!
Beyonce has had to spend her entire life working hard for the life she has. And when you work as hard as one of the biggest artists in the music industry, it can be more pressure than we can imagine. As hard as it may be to believe, Beyonce turns the big 4-0 this year. And while there are many people who would have this old misconception that once you turn 40, everything goes downhill, Beyonce can't seem to disagree more. Sure, there are some people who are casual Beyonce fans, and then there's those of us who grew up listening to her and Destiny's Child and used to take their parents' copy of their Writings on the Wall album. Or was that just me? Either way, if you love her or hate her, there's just no denying the actual decades of work that she put in to have the booming career she has now. In a recent interview with Harper's Bazaar, she reflected on her years in the industry, and we could really see how she got to where she is. The short version, she worked hard, kept her head down, and kept her vision clear. She stated during her interview, "Vision and intention weren't enough. I had to put in the work. I committed to always being a student and always being open to growth." And it rings true in the work that she does. According to her homecoming concert performance film that's streamed on Netflix, she started rehearsing over 115 days before her 2-hour Coachella performance. Not to mention that rehearsals were especially tough on her body after having a difficult pregnancy with her twins, Rumi and Sir. She's no stranger to perseverance and keeping your head down to allow yourself to be the best you can be. She also mentioned in her interview, "If something wasn't helping me reach my goal, I decided to invest no time in it. I didn't feel like I had time to kiki or hang out. I sacrificed a lot of things and ran from any possible distraction. I felt as a young Black woman that I couldn't mess up." Needless to say, Beyonce had to grow up fast, and she had a ton of pressure on her. And while this type of pressure could easily throw someone off their game, she stayed humble and continued to grow as a person and as an artist, despite troubles. For example, when she was feeling insecure after gaining weight, she turned around and wrote "Bootylicious." There are no other words. She's just that awesome. And between the drama with other members of Destiny's Child to having a seemingly endless work schedule, Beyonce stayed true to herself. And that really says something in an industry that can sometimes profit off the downfall of an artist. She credited a lot of her drive and work ethic to the people around her, who she loves and learns from, being sure to show love to her mother and father, as well as her sister Solange, and her group members and best friends, Kelly Rowland, also her cousin, and Michelle Williams. Family and people close to Beyonce have had a huge impact on how she works as a musician, as well as how she runs her business. And it started from a young age. She started singing when she was only 7 years old, and by the time she was 9, she was already a part of a girl group called Girls Time. The group featured Beyonce, her cousin Kelly Rowland, and 4 of their friends. They even appeared on Star Search in 1992, but lost to another group. As they evolved over the years, they took things in a different direction and later became known as Destiny's Child.
The winner is Destiny's Child.
You may have heard of them. Throughout that time, and even years before then, Beyonce and the members of Destiny's Child worked tirelessly. And the pressure was on. Beyonce's father, Matthew Knowles, quit his job as a sales representative for Xerox to manage the group full-time, while her mother, Tina Knowles, worked for hours and hours on end at her salon to help make ends meet. This meant that the future of her family's livelihood heavily depended on the group's success. But no pressure, you know. From an early age, Beyonce was dedicated to honing her vocal skills and learning how the industry worked, which was shocking to those who knew her because, as surprising as it may be, Beyonce was an incredibly shy kid. But she shined when she was on stage. Destiny's Child went on to become a huge success, which probably shocked no one. They brought us Bills, 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 Survivor, Independent Woman, and don't even get me started on Say My Name. Even their early songs were bangers, but I digress. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows for her. As arguably the most recognizable faces of the group, she got a lot of backlash for drama that ensued within Destiny's Child. The group, which consisted of Beyonce, Kelly, LaToya, and Latavia in its early days, lost members due to drama surrounding their management. LaToya and Latavia felt that Matthew wasn't representing them the way he should, and that he didn't have all of their best intentions at heart. Matthew's solution? Just kick them from the group. Eventually, they were replaced by Farrah Franklin and Michelle Williams. But when Farrah left the group after only 5 months, only Beyonce, Kelly, and Michelle remained.
Kelly, Beyonce, and Michelle go crazy for Destiny's Child.
And this trio would later go on to become the permanent faces of Destiny's Child.
Well, bless the Lord, we are so excited.
And while all that drama was going on behind the scenes, Beyonce was often blamed for it. But despite the backlash, she stayed humble and grateful for the success they'd worked so hard to achieve. And that helped her to really learn how the industry can be and how to stay determined when things go south. While most of us were hanging out with friends or going on dates or partying it up in our teen years, Beyonce was hard at work. She spent most of her childhood rehearsing, honing her craft, and becoming the best version of herself she could be. And it seems to be paying off, as she now holds over 20 Grammy Awards.
I want to thank the Grammys for giving me this wonderful opportunity. This was my first record as a solo artist.
As the days of Destiny's Child came to an end, though there have been multiple reunions and even surprise performances during some of Beyonce's shows, Beyonce has dominated the industry as a solo artist, actress, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and all-around icon. But even at the top of her game, there's a price that comes with being one of the most influential and successful artists of an entire generation. And Beyonce's been open about the toll her career has had on her mental and physical health, and we definitely got a glimpse of that in Homecoming. But during her Harper's Bazaar interview, she mentioned that there has been a lot of other stress on her. She stated, "I haven't always made myself a priority. I've personally struggled with insomnia from touring for more than half of my life. Years of wear and tear on my muscles from dancing in heels. The stress on my hair and skin, from sprays and dyes to the heat of a curling iron and wearing heavy makeup while sweating on stage." When we see Beyonce perform, we are so captured by how her music makes us feel that it's easy to forget that she's been putting so much stress on her mind and body for decades. And being married with 3 children can only add to the stress sometimes. And in typical Beyonce fashion, she rolls with the punches and tries to stay positive when so much is demanded of her. But she made a great point in her interview by pointing out that she's now taking time to focus on her mental health and well-being. She told Harper's Bazaar, "Mental health is self-care too. I'm learning to break the cycle of poor health and neglect, focusing my energy on my body and taking note of the subtle signs that it gives me." She even mentioned how her children are picking up positive cues from her about decompressing and taking care of their mental health. And we love how she wants to instill those values in her children. She worked so hard for years to create a life for her family where they can achieve whatever they want. And when looking at Blue Ivy's accomplishments, it seems like Beyonce and Jay-Z's work ethic and determination rubbed off on her too. Beyonce has grown in so many ways, and her style, music, and even her fans have changed with her. As she steps into a new and exciting chapter in her life, we can't wait to see what happens next with her. We are already hyped for her Ivy Park and Adidas collaborations, and for new music in the future. But this is also Beyonce we're talking about here, and this woman has flipped the entire industry upside down with her releases multiple times. In short, Beyonce is as iconic as they come, and that's not going to change anytime soon. Say what you want about Beyonce, but her work ethic is simply unmatched, and she's spent years empowering our generation to grow and to love ourselves. Simply put, there's a reason they call her Queen Bee, and we'll always be here for that. What do you think of Beyonce's journey? Let us know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to The Thing Celebrity for more videos just like this one.